Welcome to your personalized depth dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty remarkable happening. Specifically, Solana's decentralized exchanges, DEX, as you probably know them. We're diving into some data from a recent Bitcoin Magazine.nl article. And the numbers paint a fascinating picture.
Yeah, it's not just fascinating, it's almost unbelievable. On January 7th, 2025, Solana's DEXs, they handled a staggering $3.98 billion in daily trading volume. That's more than Ethereum and Base combined.
Wow, that's wild. It does feel like a seismic shift, doesn't it? I mean, Ethereum has long been the king of DeFi, but Solana is clearly making a play for the crown.
Yeah, and it's not just a one-day blip. Solana's total value locked, or TVL, has grown fivefold throughout 2024, reaching over $9.5 billion.
Okay, that's some serious growth. While it's still behind Ethereum's $71.55 billion, that rate of expansion is incredible. So what's driving this surge? The article points to Raydium, Solana's top DEX. As a key player, its daily volume went from $182 million in January 2024 to over $3 billion by December.
Yeah, at one point. It even overtook Uniswap, Ethereum's Uniswap. In monthly volume, that's a pretty big deal. It suggests that maybe we're witnessing a changing of the guard.
So how is Solana pulling this off? I know it's known for speed and low transaction fees, which makes it attractive for developers, but is there more to the story?
Absolutely. Solana's technical architecture really shines in DeFi. For example, its parallel processing capabilities allow for faster and more efficient transactions. Compared to Ethereum's more serial approach, this translates into a smoother user experience and lower costs, which are crucial for attracting both developers and traders.
That makes sense. And it seems like they've been particularly successful in attracting certain types of projects. I'm talking, of course, about meme coins. The article highlights how these tokens, they've just exploded on Solana, accounting for a whopping 65% of Raydium's monthly volume in November. Is this a sign of strength or something we should be wary of?
It's definitely an intriguing phenomenon. Platforms like Pump.Fun, which generated $365 million in revenue last year, really illustrates Solana's grip on this niche. It seems they've tapped into something unique with the meme coin community.
Pump.Fun, huh? That sounds familiar. Can you remind me how that one works? Is it just another meme coin exchange? Or is there something more to it?
What capitalizes on Solana's strengths, speed and low fees, to create a gamified trading experience, specifically designed for meme coins. Think of it like a high-speed casino for the meme coin crowd.
Okay, I see where they're going with that. Fast transactions, low fees, and a bit of gamification. It's a potent combination, especially for an audience that's drawn to hype and quick returns. It makes me wonder, though, is all this meme coin activity sustainable, or is it just a bubble waiting to burst?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's certainly something to consider. While meme coins have brought a lot of attention and volume to Solana, it's important to remember that they can be incredibly volatile and prone to manipulation.
Right. It's all fun and games until someone loses their shirt, as they say.
Yeah.
So if we look beyond the meme coin frenzy, what else is driving Solana's success? Is it just hype, or is there real substance behind the growth?
There's definitely more to it than just hype. Solana is also attracting serious DeFi projects, particularly in the realm of AI agent tokens.
Okay, now we're getting into some interesting territory. Before we dive into that, though, could you explain what these AI agent tokens are and why they're drawn to Solana?
So they're essentially tokens that represent autonomous agents powered by artificial intelligence. These agents can execute trades, manage portfolios, and even participate in governance protocols, all without human intervention.
That's pretty mind-blowing. It sounds straight out of science fiction. But why are they flocking to Solana?
Well, Solana's low fees and high transaction speeds are crucial for these AI agents, which often need to execute many transactions very quickly and efficiently.
So in a way, the same things that make Solana attractive for meme coin traders are also appealing to these sophisticated AI projects. It's a curious juxtaposition.
Exactly. It seems like Solana has managed to attract both ends of the spectrum, from the highly speculative to the cutting edge. But with all this activity, it does make you wonder if maybe they've sacrificed something along the way.
Like security, perhaps. I've heard murmurs about Solana's network being less decentralized than Ethereum, and therefore potentially more vulnerable to attacks. Is there any truth to that?
There have been some concerns raised, yes. It's a complex topic. But the gist is that Solana's consensus mechanism, while incredibly efficient, it relies on a smaller number of validators compared to Ethereum.
And fewer validators could theoretically make the network more susceptible to manipulation or attacks.
Potentially, yes. It's a trade-off between speed and decentralization. And it's a debate that's raging within the crypto community.
So we've got these incredible growth numbers, a booming meme coin ecosystem, the emergence of AI agent tokens, and underlying questions about security and decentralization. It's a lot to unpack. What do you think? Are we getting a bit ahead of ourselves? With all this excitement over Solana?
Perhaps it's easy to get caught up in the hype, especially when you see these kinds of numbers. But I think it's crucial to remember that the crypto space is still relatively young, incredibly volatile.
Right. We've seen booms and busts before, so how can we, as informed investors or just curious observers, how can we separate the signal from the noise? How do we evaluate Solana's potential in a way that's both realistic and insightful?
I think we need to look beyond just trading volume and TVL and consider a broader range of factors. We need to look at the underlying technology, the team behind the project, the regulatory landscape, and of course the potential risks.
That's a great point. We can't just chase the hype. We need to understand the whole picture. So for our listener, what are some of the key things they should be paying attention to when evaluating Solana? What are the red flags versus the green lights that they should be looking for?
Well, let's start with the technology. Solana's speed and scalability are undeniably impressive. But as we've discussed, there are trade-offs when it comes to decentralization and security. So it's crucial to understand how Solana's consensus mechanism works and what steps they're taking to mitigate potential risks.
So doing a bit of research into the nitty-gritty technical details is a must. Got it. What about the team behind the project?
Yeah, the team is critical. You want to see experienced developers with a strong track record and a clear vision for the future. Dig into the backgrounds of the key players. Look for their contributions to the open source community and see how they respond to challenges and criticisms.
That makes a lot of sense. A solid team can make or break a project, especially in a fast-moving space like crypto. Now, you mentioned the regulatory landscape earlier. That's something that's been weighing on my mind lately. Governments around the world are still figuring out how to deal with crypto, and it seems like there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. How can our listener assess the regulatory risks associated with Solana?
It's a complex and evolving landscape, for sure. Pay attention to how regulators are viewing Solana specifically. Are they expressing concerns? Are they proposing regulations that could impact its development or adoption? It's also worth considering Solana's approach to compliance and how they're working with regulators to address potential concerns.
So it's not just about understanding the current regulations, but also anticipating how things might change in the future. That's a tall order, but I guess that's part of what makes investing in crypto so exciting, right? The constant evolution and the need to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. It's a high-risk, high-reward space, and informed decision-making is key. Speaking of risks, we've touched on security and regulation, but what about the inherent volatility of the crypto market itself? That's something our listener needs to be prepared for, right?
Definitely. We've all seen how quickly things can change in this space. Fortunes can be made and lost overnight. So how can our listener approach investing in Solana, or any cryptocurrency for that matter, in a way that manages risk effectively?
First and foremost, never invest more than you can afford to lose. It's cliche, but it's crucial. Diversification is also key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across multiple assets, including those outside of crypto.
So a balanced portfolio is essential. Don't go all in on the meme coins, no matter how tempting it might seem. Got it. What other risk management strategies would you recommend?
Setting clear investment goals is crucial. Are you in it for the long haul? Are you looking for quick gains? Your strategy will vary depending on your objectives. And once you've set your goals, stick to your plan. Don't let emotions like fear or greed drive your decisions.
That's easier said than done, especially when you're staring at a red or green chart all day. But I know you're right. Discipline is key.
It is. And remember, the crypto market is a 24/7 roller coaster. Don't get caught up in the short-term fluctuations. Focus on the fundamentals and the long-term potential of the projects you believe in.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The technology, the team, the regulatory landscape, risk management. It's clear that evaluating a blockchain like Solana requires a holistic approach. We can't just get swept away by the hype. No matter how enticing it might seem, we need to dig deeper, ask the tough questions, and consider the potential downsides along with the upsides.
Exactly. And remember, there's no crystal ball in crypto. No one can predict the future with certainty. But by doing your research, staying informed, and managing your risk, you can navigate this exciting and evolving space. with more confidence and a greater chance of success.
That's a great point. We've talked a lot about what our listeners should be looking for when evaluating Solana, but I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of the most exciting developments happening on the Solana blockchain right now? What are the things that are keeping you up at night? In a good way, of course.
One area that I find particularly fascinating is the development of decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, on Solana.
Oh yeah. I've been hearing more and more about DAOs lately. Can you remind me what they are and why they're gaining so much traction?
Sure, they're essentially internet-native organizations, governed by code and run by a community of token holders. They enable decentralized decision-making and collective ownership, which can be a powerful force for innovation.
So instead of having a traditional hierarchical structure with a CEO and a board of directors, DAOs are governed by the community itself.
Exactly. And Solana's speed and low transaction fees make it an ideal platform for building and running DAOs. We're already seeing some really interesting use cases emerge, from decentralized venture capital funds to community-owned social platforms.
That's amazing. It feels like DAOs have the potential to disrupt traditional organizational structures
Yeah,
and empower communities in a way that we've never seen before.
I agree. It's a space that's ripe for innovation, and Solana is at the forefront of this movement. Another area that I'm watching closely is the development of non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, on Solana.
NFTs, I feel like they've exploded in popularity over the past few years, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around their true potential. It seems like there's a lot of hype, but also a lot of skepticism. What's your take on the NFT landscape on Solana?
I think we're still in the early days of NFTs, and there's a lot of experimentation happening. But Solana's low transaction fees and fast transaction speeds make it an attractive platform for creators and collectors alike.
That makes sense. High gas fees on Ethereum have been a major barrier for many people looking to get into the NFT space. So is Solana poised to become the go-to platform for NFTs?
It's certainly a contender. We're seeing a growing number of artists, musicians, and other creators launching their NFT projects on Solana, and the community is very active and engaged.
Okay, so we've got DAOs, NFTs, meme coins, AI agent tokens. It seems like there's a lot happening on Solana. But with all this activity, is there anything that concerns you? Are there any potential downsides or risks that we haven't discussed yet?
One thing that I'm keeping an eye on is the potential for network congestion as activity on Solana continues to grow.
Ah, yes. I remember reading about some network outages on Solana in the past. Is that something that could become a recurring issue?
It's a possibility. Solana's throughput is impressive, but as more users and applications join the network, there's a risk of congestion, which could lead to slower transaction times and higher fees.
So scalability is still a challenge, even for a high-performance blockchain like Solana.
Yes, scaling is a challenge for all blockchains, and it's something that the Solana team is actively working on. They're constantly developing and implementing new solutions to improve network capacity and efficiency.
That's good to hear. It sounds like they're aware of the potential challenges and taking steps to address them. So what are some of the things they're doing to improve scalability?
Well, they're working on a number of initiatives, including sharding, which involves splitting the network into smaller, more manageable pieces. They're also exploring Layer 2 solutions, which involve moving some transactions off-chain to reduce congestion on the main network.
Okay, so they're not just resting on their laurels. They're actively pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But scaling isn't the only challenge facing Solana, right? What about competition from other blockchains?
Yeah, competition is fierce in the crypto space. New blockchains are emerging all the time, each with its own unique features and advantages.
So how does Solana stack up against the competition? What are its strengths and weaknesses compared to other platforms like, say, Ethereum or Cardano?
Well, Solana's speed and low fees are definitely major advantages, and its developer community is growing rapidly. But its relative lack of decentralization and its history of network outages are concerns that some potential users might have.
So it's a mixed bag. It has some clear strengths, but also some weaknesses that need to be addressed. What do you think the future holds for Solana? Will it be able to maintain its momentum and become a dominant force in the crypto space?
It's impossible to say for sure. The crypto market is incredibly unpredictable, and new technologies and trends are emerging all the time.
So you're not willing to make any predictions, no bold proclamations about Solana becoming the next Ethereum.
I'll leave the crystal ball gazing to others. But what I can say is that Solana has a lot of potential. It has a strong team, a vibrant community, and a growing ecosystem of applications.
Okay, so it's a blockchain worth watching, but we need to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to dig deeper than the hype. But I have to admit, after learning all this, I'm really intrigued by Solana. I'm curious to see how it evolves and what role it plays in the future of DeFi and the broader crypto space.
Me too. It's a fascinating project, and it'll be interesting to see how it navigates the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Well, this has been a truly enlightening deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about Solana, from its technical underpinnings to its potential impact on the world. But before we wrap up, is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind as they continue their own exploration of Solana? Any final words of wisdom?
Remember, knowledge is power in the crypto space. So keep learning, keep questioning, and don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Great advice. We've covered a lot of ground today. But this is just the beginning of your journey into the world of Solana. There's always more to learn and discover. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Solana, what would you say is the single most important takeaway for our listeners?
That's a great question, and a tough one to answer succinctly. But I think if I had to choose one key takeaway, it would be this. Don't just follow the hype. Look beyond the flashy headlines and the impressive growth numbers, and dig deeper into the fundamentals of any blockchain project before you invest your time or money.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. We've seen time and time again in the crypto world that hype can be fleeting. What's hot today might be gone tomorrow, but strong fundamentals, like a solid team, a well-designed technology, and a growing ecosystem. Those are the things that can sustain a project. In the long run,
Exactly. And remember, the crypto space is constantly evolving. What's true today might not be true tomorrow. So stay curious, stay informed, and never stop learning.
I love that. Stay curious, stay informed. Those are words to live by, especially in a space as dynamic and exciting as crypto. So for our listener who's now armed with all this knowledge about Solana, what's the next step in their journey? What are some resources or tools they can use to continue their exploration?
Well, the first step is to simply start exploring. Dive into the Solana website. Read their white paper, check out their social media channels. There's a wealth of information available online. And don't be afraid to get involved in the community. Join some Telegram groups, follow some thought leaders on Twitter, engage in discussions, ask questions. The more you immerse yourself in the Solana ecosystem, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
That's a great point. Crypto isn't just about technology and finance. It's also about community, connecting with other people who share your interests and passions. So don't be shy, jump in and start exploring. And who knows, maybe you'll even discover some hidden gems along the way.
Yeah, you never know what you might find. That's part of the beauty of crypto. It's a constantly unfolding story, with new chapters being written every day.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the world of Solana with you. Thank you for sharing your insights and expertise.
The pleasure was all mine. I always enjoy these deep dives. They're a great way to learn, grow, and stay ahead in the curve.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you found it informative, engaging, and perhaps even a little bit inspiring. Remember, knowledge is power, so keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of crypto.
And until next time, happy diving.